Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to you. Welcome to your next lesson. Thank you. Previous lesson, I've ended on this ambiguous note, and I really like that. Hope that ambiguity is what was left with you after that lesson to help you understand the energy that is left when someone does not take action, does not interact, does not get involved, and chooses to stay away, chooses not to speak, chooses not to take responsibility, maybe. Depends on the situation, but the fact of the matter is you can choose to stay away from society as at large, as a whole, and become a monk. That's one option that you do have. And through the work that you will do, perhaps writing a book or having people come to you, that is definitely one way of doing it. But one needs to be aware that the interaction and the effect you will have, and because through the interaction there's also growth, is drastically different. These are two different approaches. So that's one thing to consider when you choosing not to do, when you choose not the ing. But that state also is very important because you can bring that state into your everyday. And we'll talk more about that in due course. But one specific thing that I wanted you to take away from the previous video is this idea about ambiguity, but also more importantly, the fact that you are the animator of your reality. And that is crucial. If I were to sit here and not record and not put a kettle on, not light an incense, and so on and so forth, if I would not put the action into place, stop for a second and feel how that would affect this space. Everything around you has been at some point animated by another human. Everything around me. Or another consciousness if we take it way back far into when the universe is being created. But what I'm wearing, what I've eaten, what I've applied, what's behind me, someone created this garden. Someone created the fabric that I'm sitting on. Someone has been in the energy of ing, right? Doing, eating, crafting, co-creating. And that's very important because if you do take a moment, and that would be your next exercise, is to sit in the room where you are, not move, and absorb. Absorb that's everything in that room, and observe what out of everything in that room is gonna move without you interacting with it. I believe that's a very profound knowledge that one really needs to absorb and take away. That's why yesterday I gave a little introduction into that idea of when you sometimes we don't know how to act, and it's okay to take time and to sit and to understand where do we go from here. There is a time and a place for that before we begin the action. Meditation is part of that, because once you're ready to animate things, once you're ready to interact with things, people and places, that's when you do it. But you do that usually after having taken the time to balance yourself, to find your center, to find your alignment. Understand the fact that it is you who has put these objects in the room, perhaps, or who decides what is the next form of action. It is you and other people involved, and appreciation for the other people who have been here before us as well is very important. Our ancestors and everything outside of your room, in the area, in the city, in the country, in the world, everything is animated by a consciousness in one way or another. And to take this moment and pause to understand the importance of that every single action having, like I mentioned in the previous video, having a counteraction. What action are you taking? How is it affecting the world at large? Looking at the bigger picture, what are the long-term consequences of that action as well, correct? We all understand the sequence of events that have happened across time immemorial, and what it can lead to or lead into, and what action, interaction, or animation of things we are to do from this point. Who are we? What kind of player? Also, where does the idea or the desire or the ignition for that action, for the interaction you will have with the world, where does it come from? Right? What's the reason behind it? What's the provenance? Like, what is the purity of that desire? I think it's important for us to ask that question. I am going to leave you with this for today. There will definitely be meditation exercise specifically for these two parts, because this is where we start. We start from the non-doing. And another very important thing is to bring the non-doing in the doing. What do I mean by that? Finding the center before the doing and during the doing is what we will practice next. But I thank you for this part of the lesson and your focus. Appreciate you being here. Have a great day.